games this week, right?
Yep, 2.
Yeah, I still don't believe it. All right, fine. Hey now, boys and girls, welcome to show 171 here of the podcast. It's the unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, commercial-free Sharks podcast that is the Pucknologist here on Teal Town, USA. This time around, we got 3 games to go at, all of them on the road, but be the number one that follows us, wherever you are. That's right. If you're new to the podcast, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on social media. If you want to join the YouTube chat, make sure to subscribe. Thank you very much, Russian bots. You can help support the content we deliver. Keep us commercial free by using that super chat option during the live shows or by using Venmo. You can find us at Teal Town, USA. Remember, your donations keep the cast free from us putting the brakes right in the middle of it to tell you how to shave your nether regions. That's the way it goes. But remember, if you're not watching us live on YouTube, you can add your comments in the section below on this video. And while you're there, give us a thumbs up. As always, we're not here to change your mind. We're only here to offer our thoughts. And yes, we are announcing the winning lunchbox later in the show. Hey, now, do you have the numbers together, Jerk?
They are currently being calculated.
Oh,
and
tabulations occurring?
Tabulations are occurring. We're not there yet. There's still plenty of numbers to count.
We're not there yet. Thank you, John King.
Yeah, but we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. We've got 15 entries, which
15? That's it?
You say that's it. I think that's the biggest contest we've ever done on this podcast.
I call bullshit. All right. 3 games this week. The Sharks went 2-1. Wait a minute. They ended up with a winning record. This can't be right.
Barely.
5-3. Okay, let me see. 5-3 loss, 5-4 win, and then 3-2 win in OT. God damn, that sounds like a winning record. How the hell did that happen? I don't
makes
even
you think.
It. Yeah,
maybe,
makes you do.
Maybe this team is a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's what the. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, okay. So it's a Pucknologist. No, Pucknologist takeover. So as they do on After Dark, you talk about the game you just saw. So Sharks 3-2 shootout win. God, gotta update everything. I hate it when they do all that. Screws me up. So the Sharks beat Minnesota in I don't even know what they call it. It's not the House of Hockey, but it's certainly a cold state. This one, look, I don't know about you, dude. Going into the third period, I'm like, oh my God, can they just already fly back to San Jose?
Yeah, this game, at least the first 2 periods for me, this game, it kind of felt boring, to be totally honest with you.
Boring as fuck, dude. How long did it take them to get their 4th shot on goal? Like 18 minutes in the first?
Yeah, far too long. And so I was, knowing it was a takeover, I was like, okay, like this is really boring, but you have to pay attention. You have to make sure that everything, is dutifully noted. And I guess the Sharks provided us with some excitement. So tonight wasn't a total snooze fest. Yeah, right. But this one, I mean, it didn't seem like the Sharks really brought anything to the table until far too late in the game.
Yeah, it was. And what, of course, didn't help things is the fact that they evidently lost Radim Šimić about 24 seconds into the first period off his first shift. Didn't play for the rest of it after taking a shot from Mason Shaw. So at that point, you're like, oh, my God. So is EK going to do, 40 minutes tonight?
Yeah, there's been a lot of words about Šimić, what he brings to the team and if it's positive. But as we've talked about, he's played a lot better this year than probably the last 2 years. And so when you have a guy like that go down early, obviously you're behind the 8 ball from the beginning. And, to your point, you can roll out Karlsson more, you can roll out Ferraro more, but over time, playing the extra minutes, it does wear on you regardless of who is absent
Who?
from the lineup.
Who? Just to be aware, they lost Shimmick. Shimmick played 24 seconds tonight. Erik Karlsson, 34 minutes. Did you not see that coming?
Can't say that I did.
Dude. And so for as like super like jacked up as we've been with Erik Karlsson, and we're going to get to him because Jackie Redmond had some words. But dude, he did kind of eat one tonight that led to a shorty.
Yeah, not great, but you know it happens,
and not the first
right?
time.
Yeah, but it happens. I mean, you can't, you know, you can't be surprised when stuff like that happens if you want a player to sort of do those creative things to try and make something happen. You know what I mean? Like they say, higher risk, higher reward. Like, yeah, you know, he blows a wheel there and the Wild get their second goal of the game. But at the same time, if Karlsson is not making maneuvers like that, I guarantee you the Sharks' chances of scoring and the amount of goals the Sharks get goes down as well. So you kind of have to weigh them one on one side on the other.
No, I'm down with that. So, but God damn, this is a boring fucking game. It really was. Like the funny thing is oh hey, the Pucknologists is going to take over. We're going to do After Dark. We're going to talk about the game. There really wasn't a lot to talk about. I mean, they went with the same crew that played against beat Dallas, and that was pretty much it. And what happened? Well, I mean, for shits and giggles, they literally got, same ending. They won. But yeah, oh man, how did you feel about the OT when Quinn went with Meyer, Hurdle, and Karlsson? You're like, wait, what is like Nieto, Svechnikov, and Sturm busy?
I was gonna say it was kind of nice to see the coach put out a lineup that's
could win,
better equipped to try and win the game.
Dude, what were your feels when LeBanc was the first shooter for the Sharks?
Honestly, contrary to last week, like I didn't really think it was that big of a deal, just because, as we talked about, nobody was really all that impressive. I mean, obviously, Lawrence and Sturm, they get the goals to tie the game, but like, I don't really feel like I could have pointed anybody in the lineup where I was like, ooh, that person's buzzing, they gotta go. You know what I mean? So I was fine with LeBanc.
But then Couture, but then Bonino?
Yeah, the Bonino one is the only one where it's a bit quizzical for me, just because like he's not somebody that you rely on for goals in a normal situation. You know what I mean? Like LeBanc, whatever you want to say about LeBanc, he's still somebody that's relied on for goals, and he's still somebody that has the talent to score goals.
Sure. But what is it? What does Quinn have against Hurdle in the shootout? That seems really weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
has Hurdle taken more than one shootout goal this season? Seems like
it seems, well, and it's funny because like the Sharks have been in the shootout so many times, right? You'd think that everybody would have gotten a try.
Wasn't this like their fourth shootout in their last 6 games?
Yeah, because they had the 2 against Anaheim, they had this one, and I don't know if there was one more or not, but it's
no. I thought last week they went 3 straight.
You're right, they did. There was 3. Jeez,
that's what I'm saying, dude. Like 4 of 6, they go to a goddamn shootout. Like, yikes. And you go, dude, I loves me some Barbie. We're going to talk Barabanov in a little bit, but like, still, I'm going, really? Bonino and Barabanov before Timo? Before Hurdle? And
I mean, Timo is kind of like the big one, I think, because
didn't Timo get a look tonight?
Yeah, I believe.
Okay, so I'm looking at the NHL.com thing, and he's not even listed on here. I'm like, what the hell?
No, but to your point of like who to roll out there, in the first 3, right? Like,
yeah,
Timo, even before tonight, like they said Timo Meier, he leads the NHL in shots on goal. He'd scored a goal prior to tonight. He'd scored a goal in 5 straight games. Like, kind of seems to me like it would be an easy choice, right?
You would think. Well, either way, the Sharks end up with this one. You're going to have to do me a favor, log on to ESPN, tell me who the 3 stars were this. But the Sharks finish it off. I mean, so far, it's the beginning of a 4-game road trip, and out of it right now, they're, 2-1-0. Give up a point give up a point to Minnesota. I think a lot of people, if you looked at this road trip at the beginning of the season, you went, wait, St. Louis, Dallas, Minnesota, and Vegas? Oh, shit. If they come back with a point, I'd be surprised.
Right.
So,
especially Dallas. Like, Dallas has been buzzing, like, all season.
Right? But even if, but I'm talking about the beginning of the season.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who knew that St. Louis was going to be the shit show that it is, but all of a sudden, you need to cure your ills? Do you have an 8-game losing streak that you need to fix? By all means, invite the San Jose Sharks into your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this. Anybody who predicted that the Sharks were going to, have a fighting chance against the Blues, and by extension thought the Blues were going to be crap this year, they're lying.
I have some things to say.
They're trying to, they're trying to, not, they're trying to be the hipster, and it's like, well, I called it at the beginning. No, nobody knew. Like, the Blues.
God.
Blues and Minnesota were both a team that were both teams that people were kind of looking at as like, okay, maybe the Central Division is going to be a gauntlet, and
it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be. So let's get to that Blues game. Sharks lose 5-3. Oofa. It was the Sharks' 5th straight loss. Another 1-goal loss. If you throw out that empty netter, the Sharks failed to draw a call in the game. But it's okay. If you want to play the Brody Brazil, you want to be the silver lining guy, sure, I'm with you. And what you can take away from that is the fact that all the big names scored in that one. You had scores from Hurdle, Meyer, and Couture. You have to at least enjoy that part of it and say, look, the Sharks are okay, headed in, like, not off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposedly in the right direction, but it's that whole thing when one tire contains all the air, then the other tire blows, and that just felt like what St. Louis was. And I feel so bad for Kakinen, because it just seems like every time he goes in, the Sharks go, yeah, watch how bad we suck tonight. That's what it feels like.
Well, and it's really unfortunate because you and I have gone back and forth about how highly we view Kakinen, skill level and potential and all that kind of stuff.
Loves me some Kak, but dude.
But you're right. It's just it seems like every time he's in the net, like there's some kind of something that just, really muddies the waters. And it's unfortunate because, I'm still team future of the team kind of deal.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, I know David Quinn came out and said, oh, Kakinen, he needs more confidence, which maybe that's true, but like
he probably gets some more confidence if the team in front of him can stop a fucking puck from getting there from time to time.
Well, that's like,
this is high danger chances.
Well, and that's, it kind of reminds me of like, when you're really, say you're really, I don't know, say you're really upset about something and, maybe you have someone trying to comfort you and they're like, it's okay, just relax. It's like, no shit, that's what I'm trying to do.
No
like,
kidding.
When he says, oh, Kakinen needs to find his confidence, it's like, yeah, I think he would be the first to tell you that.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. Is this a what do they call that thing? You get a bunch of people looking for, they get a list and they all go out and try to find something. What is that called?
Like a honey-do list?
No. It's it's a whole group of people, and like these 3 people are given a list. These 3
like a scavenger hunt.
Yes, that's what it is. Kakinen's confidence right now is a scavenger hunt.
You know what I was thinking though? I'm wondering, just the way. I mean, really, just the way well, maybe not tonight, but just
not
the
tonight.
way. Like looking at the first 2 games, it's kind of funny how things can change, right? So looking at the first 2 games and looking at, our rundown for tonight, I was fully prepared to come in with the talking point of, where would this team be if the bottom six and the blue line were better, right?
Oof.
Because I know you've put it on our rundown and we'll get in there, but just, has the top six finally come alive,
Exactly.
And so I'm wondering, maybe a better bottom six, maybe a better blue line. Where's this team? Are they
maybe getting Nieto off the top six?
Yeah, are they fighting for maybe the 8th playoff spot? You know what I mean? I don't want to say yes for sure, but who knows? And then of course you come in tonight and who gets both goals for the Sharks? The freaking two guys from the bottom six. So, it kind of ruined my entire talking point, but I still think it's a valid point to make.
Dude, not only that, Vlasic, the guy everybody loved to fucking shit on the last 2 years, picks up 2 apples tonight. Oh, it's a beauty. You love to see it. You love to see it. But following St. Louis, Logan Couture, he had some things to say, and a lot of it had to do with the fact of this team, and it kind of echoes what Quinn has been saying. They're close, but they just keep making the stupid same mistakes.
Yeah, I played really well for spurts, and we didn't play well for about 7-8 minutes in the second, but then just big time mistakes that end up in our net, and it's happening every single night. So we got to find a way to avoid making the big mistakes. Obviously, some mistakes are going to happen throughout a game, but the big ones are killing us right now.
Big ones are killing us. That's what it is. Like even tonight, you saw Erik Karlsson bumblefuck the puck at the blue line and ends up in his own net on a shorty. It's
right.
Those are things like, again, I'm not here to go, oh my God, fetch me my lawnmower. Like, I'm not here to do that. That Karlsson has killed it so far this year. You can forgive him for those little blunders because dude is clearly putting more, up on the board than he's pulling down. But it does go to Couture's comment where he's just, we're making the big mistake, and if we can fix that, holy shit.
Well, and I think it's hard, right? And I think it goes back to something you said a couple weeks ago where, when you are the player that is under the microscope, right? Everything you do, it's dialed up to 100. Like, I guarantee you, if any of the other 6 defensemen that are on this roster, any of the 14 forwards that are on the roster, if anybody fell down like that, nothing.
No,
Not
of
even a
course.
conversation.
Of course.
But because it's Erik Karlsson, which, there are a lot of people who hate Erik Karlsson just for existing. And then
I'm not one of them.
No, I know. And then you add, on top of that, you add the fact that obviously Minnesota scored. And so it just becomes this unnecessary firestorm,
Oh yeah, dude, they're gonna pour kerosene on the lit match.
Yeah, and for what reason? Again, to like the point that Couture made, everybody is gonna make mistakes, but you can't be victimized by the critical mistakes.
Yeah, but they're of course going to be looked at in a vacuum.
Totally.
Okay. David Quinn, after St. Louis, clearly not the happiest guy. Why would he be?
You just can't play 12 minutes of the hockey we played in the second period and expect to win a hockey game. I thought we got off to a little bit of a slow start. Thought we got better as the first period went on. Really loved our first 6-7 minutes of the second. Took the penalty, they get the goal, and then we just never could get out of our end. We stood around, didn't defend anybody, didn't support the puck. You could feel that momentum swinging heavily, and then we get a puck, have opportunity to get it out, we stand still, and ends up on the back of our net. And then obviously love the beginning of the third. We come out, we get a goal, and we hem them in, we get chances, and the fourth goal is just one we can't give up. And listen, you can't be as bad as we were for that stretch. You're not going to play perfect for 60. No team does it. But how bad is your bad? And our bad was really bad for that stretch, man. You just, you can't give up those 2 goals at the end of the second. Well, not the end, but the last 12 minutes or 11 minutes of the second period the way we did, because you play the way we did. You got to make them earn it, and we didn't make them earn much towards the the last half of the second period.
Dude, I love that quote. Like, how bad is your bad? And our bad was pretty fucking bad.
Right. And I think that's a critical point to mention, right? Is you look at the elite teams, right? Colorado, Tampa Bay, Vegas, Calgary. Those teams have something that is bad, right? A bad moment, a bad ritual, a bad whatever. But again, it's how, like you said, how bad is your bad? Can you overcome it? Can you not, if Cale Makar blows a wheel and the other team scores, or Victor Hedman, or Alex Pietrangelo,
Yep.
can that team overcome a bad goal scored on a bad moment? And the answer is yes for all three of them. The Sharks are not one of those teams right now, and so you just have to look at it and take it for what it is, right?
It's been difficult, but to drop one to a team who comes in on a ridiculous losing streak, and our buddies at Let's Go Blues Radio, stick taps to you. I hope you have a gallon of chocolate milk you have to drink. I'm not sure. We move on to the Dallas game, and this is the one where I am gonna say, Jerk, you know me better than perhaps my wife, but I was the one that was going full Jack Nicholson gif because Svechnikov is back. Svechnikov is back. And what happened? He fucking scored.
Yeah,
Dude, why is Svechnikov not permanently on this team? Lindblom has been shit.
Nieto.
Dude, how is Svech not a permanent part of the top six? Explain that to me.
Well, and I'm willing to acknowledge too that when the Sharks first, when it was announced that the Sharks first signed him, I don't want to say I was
shitty one.
Well, I don't want to. I wouldn't say I was upset, but I definitely didn't like it because it was, again, the Sharks have loads of those kinds of players, right?
Right. But have I been a Svech guy from like day one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See? I've been so upset.
And he's brought something to the table. You know what I mean? He's been able to, separate himself from those group of, guys, right? Like similar guys, like I know we had the conversation of, Noah Gregor. Like I would love, obviously Svechnikov at this point, he needs to be in the lineup, but I would like Noah Gregor to be in the lineup too. And so it's kind of, you're looking and it's like, okay, to your point, why are you taking Svechnikov out when you could make a convincing argument for Cunnin, Lindblom, Nieto,
Lawrence,
Gadjevich, Lawrence. Yeah, well, Lawrence is kind of different because you don't expect that kind of stuff from Lawrence. And I think
when you look, dude, your top, the five of your top six, it's obviously Meyer, Hurdle, LeBanc, Couture, and then our buddy, Barbie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it just seems like based on performance, based on the names that you have on the roster, Svechnikov kind of fits really nice as that, sixth slot out of the top six.
And with Svechnikov, he's obviously proven that when he gets, when he's in the right spot, he can get goals. I mean, he's got 3 goals, as we mentioned this year.
Plus minus leader at +5, according to Benjamin Castle.
Yeah. And, he's got more goals than Cunnin right now, who's relied on for goals. He's got more goals than LeBanc right now, who's relied on for goals. Same with Barabanov. So it's been shown that Svechnikov can get goals when he's in the right position. And so to me, just as a, aficionado for roster building, if you will, it makes a lot of sense to put a player like that with someone who can get people the puck. I mean, how much have we talked about? I know you and I have talked about it on the podcast, through Twitter, DMs, all kinds of stuff. Man, Barabanov is so good at getting the puck to people. It's a shame that the person he has to get it to is Nieto.
and so, let's just say for a second, I mean, I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about this week. Barbie, have a week, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he got the first goal of the season, monkey off the back there, obviously.
But dude is just finding himself. He's finding himself in the right spot.
No, absolutely. And I think he's kind of the perfect player to play with a Svechnikov, right? As we said, Svechnikov is a guy who can get open. Pair him with somebody who can move the puck. I mean, again, I feel like this makes way too much sense.
Quick update. David Quinn did not have much of an update for Redeem Shimmick. Said they might know more tomorrow. Also said he'll let the league handle the hit that knocked him out of the game. Did you think it was a wing? Did he get clipped, or did you think that was, well, that's hockey. Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
Truthfully, it happened so fast, I didn't actually see it happen.
Yeah, I don't know that he did get clipped. I know Randy and Drew kind of said, well, kind of took a high elbow. Boy, I don't know. I mean, wouldn't this be a great time for Nudavaro to be healthy?
Yeah, and even then, just now watching the GIF that the Teal Town account has put out, it's really, from the angles that GIF shows, it seems like there is contact with the facial area, but it doesn't seem like there's contact with the elbow. It seems almost like his wrist clipped him.
Yeah, yeah. That's
and like you said, you can be upset that Shimmick took a head contact, and I think you'd be completely fair to be upset, but sometimes things just happen.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Right.
So the Sharks take a 5-4 win against Dallas. And of course, that was the whole thing. I was like, wait a minute. They lose to a team that's on an 8-game losing streak. Then they play the next night, back-to-backs. And try as they might, despite the Sharks' best effort, they beat the Dallas Stars. I mean, it felt like they were trying not to for a little bit of that game, to be honest with you. I mean, it was quality over quantity. The weird thing, the Sharks scored 5 times on 18 shots on goal. I mean, how many times have you, myself, is Ryan, right? Is the big Otter guy?
Yep.
Dude, throwing Otter a .722? Are you kidding me? That might be like the third sub 800 that he ever sees in his lifetime.
Well, and you know what? It was like,
that was weird, man.
With this team, like, we talked a lot, like, and not to bring up the past, right? But that last playoff run the Sharks had, going to Western Conference Final and Game 7, all that bullshit.
Oh, hold on. Oh yeah, Game 7.
Yeah, right.
Game 7.
That team, that entire year, that team had a propensity for being able to come back in games that they were trailing in, or at the very least make it close, make it interesting. And it's not something that we've seen as often since that season, but I think last night, especially against a good team like the Dallas Stars, number 1 in the Central Division, to see them always have an answer. Hey, you're going to score? Well, we're going to score right back. Jamie Benn put up 2 goals last night. That's okay. We're going to get 2 of our own.
We good.
And again, it's one game, right? But it's still, I think if you're somebody who wants this team to move forward, move in the right direction, I know everybody enjoys, the talk about tanking and all that kind of stuff, but you still need to make forward progress eventually, right?
Sure.
And playing that way is a big part of that.
Well, and the Sharks 1 for 2 on the power play in that one, and they only gave up 1 penalty to Dallas, and they killed it. So obviously, special teams came through on that. But man, can Svechnikov replace Nieto with Couture and Barbie, please? But you saw Couture in this Dallas game get a Gordie Howe hat trick, his first one ever. Thankfully, Jamie Benn didn't kill him. Did you watch that? Because I thought Ben really held up and went, okay, he almost like gave Couture a little pat on the head and said, "Nice try."
Well, and with Jamie Benn, like, obviously the offense has dried up the last couple seasons, but still a very good offensive player.
Oh well, it's all the top line, right? It's Pavelski, it's Robertson, and it's what's the other cat's name?
Rope Hintz.
Yeah, Hintz.
But so in spite of Jamie Benn being a really good offensive player, he does, he's a very tough customer. He does have that mean streak, and
he's a big boy.
To your point, it definitely kind of feels like Ben recognized who he was going up against and was like, okay, I don't want to embarrass him,
Dude, and that's what it would have been, dude. It was like Couture trying to climb a 30-foot tree. When you looked at that, it was just like, and Ben was just like, you're cute.
Right.
It was very much like, it was such a good try. I give you, props, stick taps for the effort, but dude, I could kill you, so just skate off.
Right.
In that one though, the weird thing about this is the fact that the Sharks had 4 shots on goal in the fourth or in the second and 3 shots on goal in the third. Like, that was really fucking weird.
Yeah, they didn't make it easy on themselves.
Yeah, but it was just, like, again, quality over quantity when you look at the shots on goal at the end of that one. It was really bizarre. But you know what? David Quinn, you look at this and how could you not? David Quinn, coach of the Sharks, had some things to say when it came to a lot of positives to take away from a win. Like, wow, you're positive after a win. Wow, that's interesting.
I think we're slowly learning what it takes to win hockey games. And, again, a big snafu at the end of the first period. We gave up with 20 seconds to go. But I thought after that, I really liked a lot of our game. I thought our breakouts were clean. I thought we caused a lot of turnovers. We went to the net hard in the O-zone. I thought there were a lot of good things in our game, and we took a step forward and learned how to win again. So, it's going to take a little time. We're still fragile from, the last 2 weeks and the losing we've done and the way we've done it, but we took a step forward today.
Would it be too much to ask that they do the post-game presser, like, I don't know, a little further away from the buffet? Christ almighty, dude. Either way, dude, just to see that, you got to like 3 stars of that game, by the way. Meyer, Couture, Ben. I think they gave Ben the star because he didn't cream Couture. To be honest, dude.
2 goals helps.
Oh, sure. But
that's nice from what they say. That's nice.
But when it comes to the storylines of the week, look, I got to say, on a couple of this, dude, the Sharks, you got to fire the puck a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I said, that Dallas game is like 3 shots on goal, then 4 shots on goal. There's been a few times, even tonight, there were some stretches against Minnesota where it's like, what the hell are you waiting for? Get the puck off your stick.
Right.
And I'm sure Quinn is probably thinking the same thing. So it comes down to shots on goal. Now, let me ask you this. I feel bad for Kakinen. I really do, because I just feel like they put him in a position to succeed this week. They're like, okay, there's 2 games. Do we put Kakinen against the team that is in the cellar of the Central and has lost 8 straight? Sure. And then put Reimer against the team that is at the top of the division. And that's what they did. And what happened? The Kakinen game, they fucking lost. And I still don't know that I would really put that game on Kakinen.
No, it's I don't know, because I do agree with you. Like, here's the thing, going back to the methodology on picking a starter, right? Reimer doesn't need, air quotes, easy wins, right?
Sure.
Reimer doesn't need those. He's not having a confidence problem, as David Quinn mentioned earlier. Kakinen, he needs those, so to speak, easy wins. I don't really think there's any win in the NHL that's an easy win, but to your point, against a team that's in the cellar, right? And it's just, the Sharks had 3 goals in this game against the Blues, so you kind of think, maybe some of the onus is on Kakinen. Like, hey,
remember when 3 goals would be all you needed to win?
Right. And I think, obviously letting the goal in, against Kyrou on the power play, I think that's probably the one that's going to hurt the most, just because, when you're killing a penalty, that's kind of when the goalie is really on display.
Yep.
So I think maybe in this game against the Blues, you can shoulder some blame on Kakinen. But again, I think, to your point, there's been a lot of moments where it's just
he's got hung out.
Guy can't catch a break. I mean, even look at last year. Like, he only had 2 wins last year, but had Stanley Cup goalie numbers in save percentage and goals against.
Well, dude, I think you and I talked about it. It was just like last season. It's like, yeah, he's getting no support from the team in front of him, but like the saves he's supposed to make, he is making, and he's making some saves that maybe he shouldn't make. So that's one of the reasons why I was so juiced that the Sharks were able to keep him along with Reimer and get back and forth for Hill.
And you know what? And I still say this, and I said it at the very beginning of the season. I think I said it at the end of last year as well. No matter what happens with Kähkönen, just because the age, the future potential, the skill, all that kind of stuff, no matter what happens, win, lose, or tie, which is not a thing anymore, but, win, lose, or tie, play Kähkönen.
Yeah.
Because obviously you want to really shine up Reimer for the trade deadline, which I understand and I support that. But if Kähkönen's your goalie of the future, he's going through a hard time, he's no good to you on the bench.
Absolutely. And maybe it's also a case of you have some games coming up. I mean, dude, at Vegas, the next game, you know, maybe after Reimer starting too, maybe you say, hey, Cac, dude, we're going to start you against the number one team in the Pacific, our nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is your shot. Like, literally, I'm looking at the league standings right in here. The number 2 team in the entire NHL, number 1 in the West. Like, here's your shot, take your shot.
Well, and not only that, but I think if you asked a Golden Knights fan or a Golden Knights player, I don't think they would care all that much about playing the Sharks on Tuesday. But for Sharks players and Sharks fans, like, they get horned up to play Vegas.
Oh, dude, this is a litmus test.
And so especially, I think, let's just say Kähkönen, let's say Kähkönen loses on Tuesday, assuming he starts, that's not come out. But let's just say Kähkönen starts on Tuesday and he loses, and it's not a bad loss. It's just one of those, it happens losses, right?
Which it seems the Sharks have had a few of.
Right. Because it's against Vegas, the temperature is going to be turned up even more.
Oh, it'll get magnified.
Yeah. Oh my God. We remember Game 7. We haven't beat them since, and it's.
Can you stop bringing up the words Game 7?
Hey, you know what? I'm tapping into the feelings of our listeners, probably.
So I will be interested to see what happens. Kähkönen started the beginning of the week. Then you got Reimer back to back. We'll see. The Sharks have a couple days off before they have to play in Vegas.
50% chance I'll be at that game, by the way.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like 98%. So we're looking for the jerk bump.
Could
happen.
Could happen. Vegas. Last year was much easier to justify going to the games when the Sharks are here because Vegas was ass, and so the tickets were cheap. But Vegas is really good now,
dude.
So
Vegas are you getting 9-1 in the last 10? What the fuck?
Well, and the ticket price, the shine on the Golden Knights and the
it's sparkly.
The average ticket, the price
glowy, sparkly ticket, right now.
They've risen at a commensurate rate.
Sure. Oh yeah. If you would have bought these tickets like 3 weeks ago.
I mean, shit, man. If they were on sale, if they were on sale in like June, they would have been cheap.
Ayo!
That's just not how it works, unfortunately.
So yeah, I'm going to be real interested to see. We can get to that in a minute, but I'm going to be real interested to see how the goalie thing plays out for the next few games because it does feel like Quinn has said, okay, these first 15 games I've kind of gone back and forth, but Reimer gets 2 straight starts. There's been a win and a shootout win. So we'll see what happens if he decides to ride the hot hand.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, is it become that time that the top guys are finally starting to show up? Because dude, Hertl scored in the very first game in Prague and then went 12 games without scoring, and all of a sudden he's starting to put up some points, and Meier had that long streak where he wasn't doing anything, and all of a sudden LeBanc, Hertl, and Meier have become oh, look at these motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, especially we talked about the kind of the darkness that Hertl was in when it came to the offense, and then the last 4 games he's got 6 points, including 3 goals. Same thing with Timo Meier. Prior to tonight, Timo Meier had a goal in 5 consecutive games, which as from Timo Meier's perspective, as somebody who's looking for a new contract, that's obviously how you want to be playing.
I think how we refer to that is called huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And I kind of like we talked about earlier and we're talking about right now, like it seems like the Sharks' top six, with the exception of who that sixth forward actually should be, it seems like
Svechnikov.
Yeah, I mean, he's making a case, that's for sure. It seems like the Sharks' identity, at least in the top six, has started to solidify. I mean, I don't think anybody is all too surprised that Meier and Hertl have continued to play together. But, Svechnikov was up there. Barabanov obviously was the third player that we all wanted up there.
Sure.
Cunnin got some time there. Lindblom, Gregor, like it's kind of been a rotating door specific, especially like last year too. But,
Dude,
it seems like LeBanc has found a home there. For now, I mean, he's got 7 points in 16 games. You'd like that to be a little bit higher, but it's not a terrible clip to be scoring at.
Dude, the fact that that LeBanc seems to have found a space to live that hasn't been built by Joe Thornton is something to like celebrate.
Well, that's kind of where it all started, right? Pretty much ever since the pandemic started and Joe Thornton took multiple steps back and then left the team, LeBanc has kind of been out in the cold a little bit.
Whoa. Joe Thornton isn't on this team anymore?
Well, depending on who you ask, some people still think he is on the team, just like
many
other
people are
former
saying
players that people love. Anyway,
Pavelski.
Marlowe, Burns, Nabokov.
Pavelski.
It seems
what's
like
Rudy Balcers up to? No, go ahead.
It seems like LeBanc has found a home with Hertl and Meier, and I think, we'll see as time goes on and as that trio is together more, we'll see where things go. And then obviously Couture and Barabanov, I think, has been a really good duo up to this point. I'd love to see someone who is they don't even have to be good offensively. They just have to be, I hate to say it, they just have to be good. And unfortunately, Matt Nieto has not been that this season outside of a couple of moments.
He's really good defensively. He's just never going to score.
Right. Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. But
except that's not what we looked at the second line for.
Yeah, but exactly. It's the same thing. It's the same thing last year. You remember when Bob Bugner was trying to sell, Bob was trying to sell the shutdown third line, and it's like, okay, well, if the third line is the shutdown line, what the hell is our fourth line?
Exactly.
And so now, to your point, you kind of have that shutdown penalty killer winger on the second line. It raises a lot of question marks. And so, as you said, if Svechnikov, give him a spin there. I mean, to me, it's either Svechnikov or Cunnin who should be there, and I'm not overly thrilled with Cunnin's game at this point.
Not at all.
So, I mean, I don't think Svechnikov is the best option, like in a vacuum, but for the Sharks, for what the Sharks have, he is the best option.
Yeah, that's what else I'm saying.
But obviously, first choice would be to find a better suited player for that role. But you get what I'm saying, and
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you look at where this team started off with. It was supposed to be the is similar. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. It was very similar to the PDB.
The method.
Yeah, the PDB method, if you will. It's a great term to call it. It was PDB loved his pairs.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems, maybe Bugner not so much, but Quinn definitely not so much, because when it started off, it was like, okay, we needs me some Hertl Barry, or, Barbie, whatever you want, Hertl, Barabanov, Couture, Meier. Mm-hmm. And that started for a game. Well, I mean, obviously, and then Barabanov came in, had like no fucking training whatsoever, came in cold as shit. And
played well.
It played well, but definitely cold.
He's cold, sure, but to the counterpoint to that, he's fifth on the team in scoring.
I know.
So it's like
which is just a huge like red flag and beacons as to how low the bar is for the bottom six.
Well, and I think for Barabanov, it's a green flag, right? Like it makes you just makes you wonder, like all these guys who we're counting on that have had a full training camp, like what's their story?
Yeah, dude. What are you doing over there?
Yeah, right. And
so just the fact that it like started off where it was going to be Hurdle, Barbie, Couture, Meyer, and then that's somehow flipped a little bit, and it seems to be working so far. I go back to what you're saying and to what I'm saying is that I think Svech needs to slide into that left side and replace Nieto. Nieto needs to go back to where he is best deployed. Fourth line, penalty killer, energy guy, stay down there. 10 minutes a night is your jam.
Well, and this isn't the first, this isn't the first time we've seen this. I know you remember this very fondly, but I remember back in the day, 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Oh,
I remember the Marleau, Couture, Matt Nieto second line. I remember that line very fondly, and it was the same kind of thing where Marleau and Couture picking up points left, right, and center. Nieto, okay, you can skate, but what are you bringing to the table beyond that? And go down the road a couple years, what happened? Matt Nieto, no goals in 16 games, gets thrown on waivers. And
dude, how many games did Donskoy go?
Right, and so it's just,
dude, you were calling him out for like 18 shows in a row.
Well, and so here's the thing specifically with Matt Nieto. I don't know where you are. I'm not ready to say, I'm not ready to say that Svechnikov should be the permanent fixture on that line, but I think he should at the very least, he should be the first guy to get a long-term chance there.
Yeah, no, I am the guy that says no. That's who you need to put. Is Svechnikov or Bonino? It's one or the other. Like there's literally no one else to put in that slot. I'm not putting Gregor there. Gregor, despite the fact that he's been scratched for like half this season, clearly if he's getting scratched that much, he's not showing the coaching staff what they need to show. The only other person I'm putting there is if they would have claimed Balcers. that's the other guy I'm putting there. So it's either Svechnikov or Bonino, because we saw it last season that Bonino flourished when he was moved up to, second line wing rather than third line center.
Right, and the point you made about Noah Gregor, I think it's a fair point to make. I mean,
poor bastard.
Bottom line is, yes, you're right. He hasn't shown he hasn't shown enough to stay in the lineup. But again, last year he was averaging 15 minutes a game. This year in the 6 games he's played, he's only averaged 11. That's a huge chunk of time that he's missed out on, right? And
because he sucks.
But I don't think it's that he sucks. I mean,
I think it does.
But look at it like this. He's been in the lineup less minutes per game than last year. He's playing with, as we've talked about, playing with players that can't get him the puck. So he's basically on an island trying to do things himself.
Well, I think it feels like every time he's inserted into the lineup, he has different players. You know what I mean? It's like, here's Bonino and Gadjevic. Oh, okay, I'll try to make it work with them. And then the next time, and then he's scratched for 2 games, and then he's put back in, and it's like, here's Sturm and Lindblom. And he's like, okay, I'll try to make that work. And then the next game, here's Nieto and Couture. And it was,
well,
like, it to a certain extent, I think Quinn owns a little bit of this.
Well, sure. And I think, he played Noah Gregor, that is, on with the Blues, against the Blues. He played with Timo Meier and Tomas Hertl, and I felt like in that game he had a lot of jump. So I was very surprised that he was scratched against Dallas.
Dude, I was very upset that Svechnikov was scratched against the Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I think there's a universe where both can be in the lineup, though. That's the thing.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
And as we talked about, there's maybe 3 players we would throw overboard to get either of those 2 in.
Oh, sure. And
here's your update. Touchdown 49ers.
Well, talking about updates, thank you, Puck Guy. From David Quinn, your team can really pack it in, and we did anything but that, and that says an awful lot about our group. That's David Quinn on the Sharks mood after the second Minnesota goal. Yeah, your team can pack it in, but I don't know. All right, so one game they didn't pack it in. Good for you.
Well, it's all about building, right? It's like, like we've talked about, where do you go from here?
This is what I want to ask you, because we were talking about these lines both you and I are not fans of having Nieto in the top 6. So
I'm not a fan of him in the top 12, but go ahead.
sure. Is this a case of we've gotten to the point now that we're what's the goddamn where are we at? 5-9-3. I don't do the math so well. So that's 17 games. So
Yep.
17 games in, which is, I mean, not, a 20th of this, was 18% of the season, 18 and a half, whatever. I feel like 17 games in,
It's a fifth of the way through.
So, okay, then there you go. Perfect. A fifth of the way through. I feel like Quinn should have a grip, so to speak, on what he has. And so is it time to stop the blender and say, Meyer, Hurdle, LeBanc, you're my top line. Couture, Barabanov, and hopefully Svechnikov, you are anybody but Nieto, you're my top line. Like I said, whether it's Bonino or Svechnikov, put those guys there. And then the bottom 6, it's Sturm, and Sturm, I feel so bad for that fucking guy because he has been a godsend. Clearly the best pickup during the offseason. And I feel like, oh my God, are you going to fucking strap him with like Lindblom on the right and Kunnin on the left or vice versa? I don't even give a shit. Like, I feel so bad for Sturm at this point. But my point being, is it time for Quinn to put the blender away?
I think so. I mean,
ride this shit for like 5-6 games.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many different combinations that we've seen through this first 20% of the season, and with a few exceptions, nothing has really worked beyond a couple moments or maybe a game or two here and there, right? I think at this point, you know what this team is. You know what this team is. So I think at this point, you just need to, as you said, find your line combinations that have played the best or have the most chemistry or whatever sort of intangible you want to assign, and just stick with it. You know what? If LeBanc, again, as I mentioned, LeBanc is somebody that the Sharks are relying on for offense. If he goes 10 games without a goal, you still need to keep him up on the top line because that's the best opportunity he has to break the funk. And you can say the same thing about Barabanov with Logan Couture, and the same thing with Capo Kakinen in net, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, if a player goes through a long stretch, if the Sharks were a playoff contender or a Stanley Cup contender, yes, you're always moving the chess pieces and sort of trying to forecast, okay, what do we need to do that's going to propel us to the next stage? The Sharks, we knew the Sharks were missing the playoffs before this season even started.
Yeah.
The players that you view as long-term options for this team, the players that you are relying on for offense or whatever, just play them no matter what happens. If LeBanc goes 10 games without a goal, I still want him on the top line because that's the best place for him.
Yeah, and that's where you're going to find your spot.
Yeah.
So, and only 1 year left on his deal. So it's just kind of like
1 year after this year, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So to me, it's like, make it or break it.
Well, absolutely. Oh, yeah, of course. If LeBanc, I mean, I think this year he's played.
Like somebody's going to sit there on the sideline with a stick that goes, Banker, do something, or we're buying your ass out in the offseason. Because you only got 1 year left, and clearly, I don't know if the Sharks have room to do a 1 year buyout for that when there's so much other money left on the buyout table.
But you know what? This is LeBanc. He's starting to.
How many players are you allowed to buy out during a season? Like, I'm assuming there's a calculator.
Like how many buyouts are you allowed to have at one time? You mean?
Well,
because you can't buy out during the season. You can only do it in the off season.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that say that there's a guy who has a 7-year deal.
Okay.
And after 2 years, you're like, oh, wow, did we fuck up? And you buy him out. And then the next year, there's a guy who's a 5-year deal. And you're like, we fucked up. We buy him out. And then the year after that, there's a guy's 3-year deal. We buy him. Like, is there a limit to how many players can be bought out during over the course of it. Like, can you have, just because of the way it lines up with their contracts and everything, can you have like 5 players bought out?
Yeah. So actually,
okay, well then there you go, LeBanc. Fuck you.
So right now the Rangers actually have 4 buyouts on their payroll right now, and
Who
that's
the
not
hell
even
are the Rangers?
and that's not even including a 5th buyout that they had that is recently dropped off. So.
Okay, so it is possible. So this is literally a case of LeBanc shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, and I think, and again,
and you might even find somebody that what's LeBanc making? Like 4.2?
It's 4 3/4.
So I mean, if the Sharks, look, I'm not saying that Greer has decided to go scorched earth on certain things, but I do feel like if he found somebody that was just like, oh yeah, we'll take LeBanc as like a little bit of insurance, like try to find, solidify that wing position, or maybe some help as we try to make this run.
Mm-hmm.
And then in also, for whatever reason, we have a scout that believes in this guy a little bit. And so, if the Sharks are willing to eat, like 1.2 on this, and it's only a $3 million haircut for us, we know that the cap is going to go up 3-4 million. Hey, sure. I don't know. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, I think like the LeBanc buyout specifically, which I'm looking at right now, and it has a lot to do with just the way the deal is structured, salary, signing bonus, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, the Sharks bought out LeBanc this summer. It is a very easy buyout to manage. It's $800,000 next year, $1.9 million in 2 years. It's a very easy buyout to manage.
And that's what I was thinking.
But here's the caveat to that. The Sharks already have 2 easy to manage buyouts on the docket right now, and depending on where things go, Vlasic might end up being a 3rd one.
I was gonna say,
and I know Ian has mentioned it in the chat as well. You'd be better off trading him and eating the salary, because if you can get something, that's still better than having them to buy.
So even if you can move him for like a 5th.
Yeah, I would take a 5th over nothing. And the buy it's nice that the buyout is easy, because it's sort of like it's a very stomachable last resort, but you don't want to get there.
No, not at all. And I think we can probably all agree that I don't know what conversation that Kevin LeBanc and Doug Wilson had between the whole, okay, we're going to sign you for $1 million, but after that, you know what I mean?
Well, just, look at, okay, but to
by the way, we don't have Joe Thornton anymore.
Well, but to play the devil's advocate, right? You look at LeBanc's first 3 seasons in the NHL. It was 3 consecutive years of growth, improving his offense, improving his games played, and all that kind of stuff. There was a very positive trend going there. And, specifically in that 18-19 season, LeBanc was only 22 and put up 56 points. So you kind of think, wow, this guy did this at 22. Like, what's the next level going to be?
Yeah, it does feel like he's just never been able to take that next step. And of course, he's another guy.
The problem is he hasn't even been able to get back to where he left off either.
Well, see, now let me ask you this. Is that also a case of coaching? Because it seems like whenever, whether it was with PDB or Bugner or, with Quinn, it's been a case of LeBanc can do 5 things right, but when he does that one thing wrong, it's magnified, and it's like, okay, fuck him, take him from the second, put him back on the 4th.
Well, and that's where,
like mid-game, he makes one mistake, and it just feels like LeBanc a lot of times, rightly or wrongly, is not given a chance to atone.
I agree with that 100%, and
thank you.
And it's actually LeBanc who, how LeBanc's experience last year that led to the christening of Jam Job Bob, right? Where, where
good callback.
Right, where, okay, so this guy, he has all the skill in the world, but isn't put in a proper position to showcase that skill. And then when the skill isn't showcased, people get confused and they wonder, well, hey, what the hell happened? And it's like, when you're, when you're giving LeBanc as many minutes, and then I don't mean to pick on Andrew Cogliano. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player for what's expected of him. But when you're giving LeBanc the same amount of minutes as Cogliano, you can't be surprised when something like that happens. And I think there's a lot of that, and I don't want to, kind of kick dirt onto Bob Bugner a little bit here. I don't want to do this, but it's like there was a lot of that. LeBanc, it happened to. Balcers, it happened to. Jonathan Dahlen, Ryan Donato, right? All these guys.
A lot of jams.
All these guys who have talent, and yet, sure, maybe did they go through funks? Sure, but as we talked about or at the beginning of the show, everybody goes through everything, right? And so it's like these guys who have talent, they go through funks, and it's like, oh, you're not doing what we thought you were going to do, so we're going to limit your amount of opportunities to do what we want you to do. Like, it doesn't make much sense.
I completely agree with you. It's I feel for Kev. I really do. And I don't like to get into the whole personal thing, but it's like, Chief just got married over the summer and has a kid on the way. So it's like, fuck, dude, I am so rooting for you. And you can shit all over Bugner and DeBoer all you want, dude. Quinn has put you up with the top line, Meyer and Hurdle, like, get her done. You know what I mean?
And to his credit, he's played well since he's gone up there, right? I mean, he's had a couple brain farts. Okay,
but
can I give you a stat?
I'm sorry?
Can I give you a stat?
Well, hold on, let me finish. He's had a couple brain farts, but I think it's the whole thing of like, he's the guy who it just feels like he's bringing brisket, potatoes, and mac and cheese to the party, and it's, oh, he forgot a fork. You know what I mean? Like, he's bringing more than he's not,
Sure.
Bring your stats.
And so here's my stats. So LeBanc, 16 games so far this season, and he's got 7 points, which you're thinking, oh man, we'd love that to be a little bit higher, but not terrible.
We'd love that to be a little bit higher, but how many of those 7 points came when he was with, Hurdle and Meyer?
Well, and so that's my next point.
Hey!
So the last 4 games, which is, remember, the second game against Anaheim, St. Louis, Dallas, and then tonight against the Minnesota Wild. So in his last 4 games, he scored 5 of those 7 points.
Hey now.
To me, if you break it down and you just look at it, with the top line, without the top line, very, very obvious what the right choice is here.
That's what I'm saying. Hold on, this is good. This is a good one. Our buddy Darren Stevens at Sharks Stats on the Twitter machine. Erik Karlsson skated 34 minutes 12 seconds, had 2 blocks, and the primary assist on the game-tying goal. The ice time was his most in the regular season with San Jose, and his most since December 29th, 2015 with Ottawa. So, look, every jerk will be the first to tell you, I'm not the biggest Erik Karlsson fan, because to me, I think statistically, and that's the whole thing, is, oh, you just hate Erik Karlsson because of, I don't even know why. And I'm like, no, the only reason why I have an issue with Erik Karlsson is that I feel, and I think the stats bore this take out, he hasn't lived up to his contract as a San Jose Shark. For the money he's been given, hasn't earned it until this season, where it seems like, holy shit, Erik Karlsson seems like he wants to earn the last 3 years combined in one season. Like, that's the way he's playing.
And that's fine.
Dude, and I'm all for it. Dude, I'm here for it. In fact, you know what? Let's Jackie Redmond. Awesome personality from NHL Network. Let's hear what she has to say about Erik Karlsson.
Erik freaking Karlsson. Carlson, dude is coming for that third career Norris. 2 more points last night brings his total on the season to 21. That leads all defensemen, and overall, just 3 players in the entire league have more points than Carlson's 21. Not to mention, he's a plus player despite playing for a pretty dreadful San Jose Sharks team. Sorry. Only 2 defensemen have ever scored 10 goals faster than Carlson, and they both played like 90 years ago. With his assists last night, he's the first D-man ever to put up 10 goals and 10 assists in 15 games or less to start a season. Carlson is currently riding a 6-game point streak. Over that span, he's put up 7 goals and 8 assists for 15 points. He has never had a better 6-game stretch in his entire career. Carlson could be setting us up for his best season ever. His career high in goals is 21. He's already halfway there. His career high in points is 82. He's a quarter of the way there with 67 games left to go. If he can stay healthy, and that's a big if, we could be poised for a vintage EK65 season. By the way, Carlson's odds to win the Norris right now on DraftKings, plus 1,200. Would be pretty tough to dethrone the likes of one Cale Makar, but I mean, throwing $5-10 on there ain't gonna hurt anybody. I'm just saying, Erik Karlsson is staring down another Norris.
Okay. Staring down another Norris. You know that Fox is out there. You know Hedman's out there. You know Cale Makar is out there. Plus 1,200. Are you going to tell me that you're not going to, like, I don't know, on your way to work, swing by the MGM and go, you know what? You know, I'll throw a 20 on Karlsson to pull that Norris this year.
Yeah, I mean the way he's played this season, right?
Right, dude. What did we say? How many are we in to the year?
20%.
No, 20. I thought it was less than that, but okay.
I think it's going to be in.
Oh yeah, you're right. 20%.
There's still a lot of season left, obviously, but so it's going to be interesting to see if Karlsson can sort of continue with what he's done up to this point. But
and again, the fact that there's been games where it's like tonight, 34 minutes because Šimek got injured.
Right, and again, like we've kind of talked about the last couple of weeks, right? So you can point to, got an assist on the game-tying goal, doing exactly what we ask of him, blah, 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 and it's all awesome.
Yeah.
But again, as we've kind of dug into a little bit of the nitty-gritty over the last couple weeks, right? This week especially, he's had a pretty spectacular week on the other side of everything as well. He had three hits this week. He had 4. I'm just doing the math real quick. 3 hits this week, 4 block shots.
3 assists. Am I looking at that right?
Yeah, 3 assists. So the offense is obviously there, as we've talked about. But
the whole thing, 3 assists in 3 games. That's a point per game.
Right, which is what you want from him. But again, on the defensive side of things as well, he's hitting more than he has since he's been on the Sharks. He's blocking shots more than he has since he's been on the Sharks. He's taking a lot of shots.
Leading the team in time on ice?
Time on ice and scoring. And so, again, if you've got some extra scratch lying around at plus 1,200, why not?
Yeah, how do you not throw like 25, 50 that way?
Yeah, $25,
dude,
whatever.
Plus 1,200?
Yeah, I was gonna say just skip, whatever your choice is.
Don't pick up that fucking macchiato that morning at Starbucks and throw it down at the table.
I was gonna say Starbucks, Pete's, Dutch Bros, Dunkin', whatever your preference is, just skip that for a couple days.
Hey now, dude, I'm right there. You know what? I feel like you owe me a couple bucks. Maybe I just say, hey, stop off and place that bet, right?
Yeah, that might be something that we have to organize.
All right. So hero and zero of the week. Hero this week. I'm going to go first because I feel like you've gone first the last couple of weeks.
That's fine.
If that's okay with you. My man, Svechnikov.
Mm-hmm.
Only played 2 games, but when he got back in, dude, scored a significant goal. And I just feel like this is a guy that, if given the opportunity to play in that top 6 role and take Nieto's spot, he's going to make the most of it. Jerk knows. I've been talking about Svech since damn near the beginning of the season, and so I have 2 words for you. My man. So Svech is my hero of the week, and I hope he continues to remain there. Jerk?
So the last couple weeks I've gone with a more underground choice, we'll say. So I think
I
this
think
week
we both have.
Yeah, so this week I think I'm gonna go with the sexy pick, and
Barbie.
I'm gonna say Tomas Hertl.
Fuck you. Should have been Barabanov.
As we talked about, like Hertl after the games in Prague, Hertl had a really rough go of it pretty much the whole season. And
This
you know,
week, 2 goals, 1 assist, point per game this week.
yeah, and
And even strength, all of them.
right. Well, and even going back, again, it's all about trends. It's all about, where are you going? What are you building on, right? And even, I know we talked about it a week ago, but like if you want to combine last week and this week, right? That's 8 points in his last 6 games, which is the Tomas Hertl that we're accustomed to, and that's what
the Hertl special.
Right. Well, and that's what you expect out of a player making $8.25 million
And shooting 28.6%.
Right, which obviously is going to regress, but even if that comes, like it
Dude,
was
you want to talk about regression, dude? Svechnikov, my man, 50%.
Right. Well, and and even then, like Hertl, just because of how brutal he was in between the Czech games and then the beginning of last week, his shooting percentage is actually down to 13%, which is still high above league average, but that's not necessarily that big of a deal. I mean, over his career, he's averaged 13% shooting, so I kind of think maybe he's right where he should be.
Sure.
But I just thought he's played a completely different game ever since the beginning of last week, and he's been consistent, and he's had like positive trends, right, with offense and with even defense and everything across the board. I think it's a completely different player.
All right. 0. I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh man. See, again, I'm having the same problem. It's hard to pick out somebody that's failing to meet expectations when most of the team is failing to meet expectations. You know what I mean? Like, how do you pick just one, right?
Yeah, who's the biggest loser?
And you know what? I hate to really pile on. But
Do it. Lawrence.
No, I wasn't. No, okay. We'll get to that. But like, to me, it's Luke Cunnin, right?
Oh.
And again, the Luke Cunnin, there's been a lot of words said about the Luke Cunnin trade and
I know words.
what he's supposed to do for the team and all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, he was supposed to provide like some middle six, like sort of a shot in the arm to the middle six.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happened. As it was talked about earlier, in the chat, he's tied for worst plus minus on the team. He's gotten better this week, but there's still a concern about how much he's in the penalty box. And, there's a lot of room that needs to, there's a lot of growing that he needs to do, a lot of improvement that is required because again, like whatever you think about the trade, whatever you think about him as a player, like the Sharks need him to be productive.
Yes.
And,
not there yet.
Yeah, not there yet. That's a good way to put it.
For me, I hate to do this, man.
Do it.
Gregor.
Eric Carl. No.
No, Gregor. It's just, goddamn, man. You get scratched and you come in refreshed and you're still not able to impress Quinn. I don't know what he's looking for that you are not providing, but I feel like Rudy Balcers might have provided it. I don't know, but Jesus.
Well, Mike Greer hates Balcers, don't you know?
Well, David Quinn hates Gregor.
Right.
I mean, I feel that. PJ48, I love this comment. You guys have been talking about the trade worthiness of LeBanc. What about Vlasic? You think he gets into any conversations if he keeps this play up over the season? No. Not for this season because he still has a full no move. Now, if he were to do this a year from this date, maybe because his full no move turns into a 3-team no trade. And with the, shall we say, the cap rising, maybe the Sharks go, well, And maybe this. What's Vlasic making right now? Like 7 point
7
something?
million.
7 million. So if Vlasic is able to keep up what he has been doing this season, which I think, tell me I'm wrong, but Vlasic hasn't played this well since PDB was a coach.
Yeah, it's been about 3 years since Vlasic has played net positive good.
Right? So if he were to come along, and continue the season that he is having, and then going into next year, have that same, it's like, yeah, we're going to have you middle pair, and we want you to keep shutting down shit, and he continues to do that. Maybe there's a team that, and who knows what the hell's going to be going on to Montreal, because we all know that Vlasic has a hard-on from Montreal. Who knows? But, yeah, just to get into your question there, that's like, I don't think Vlasic's going anywhere this year. Next year, when the, I don't know, the reins loosen up a little bit, who knows?
I don't agree with that, just because, like,
well, then fuck you.
Well, no, but no matter what Vlasic can do to rehab his image, which he's done a very good job of this year, no matter what he can do,
stats, but okay.
Well, sure, but just the whole persona of him and just what he's bringing to the table, like, at the end of the day, he's still making $7 million a year for the next 3 years. And so a hard if he is a trade option, it's not going to be without retained salary. It's not going to be without
minimum $2 million.
Yeah, it's not going to be without either kicking in a sweetener or trading him for nothing.
Yeah, and right now it's just me. Other people can tell me I'm an idiot. I don't feel like the Sharks are at a point where they have the option to give up a quote unquote sweetener.
No, of course not. I think sweetener should be your absolute last resort.
There you go. All right. So you got your 0 in, did you? Who the hell was it? Cunnin? There you go. All right. So quick hits before we get out of here. The Panthers placed Rudy Balcers on waivers, and Tampa, of all teams, picked him up. And
which I think is awesome.
Dude, Hockey Jerk was dancing a jig.
Well, because he's like,
how did the Sharks not pick him up? They're already paying him.
Right.
You're already paying the fucking guy. Pick him up.
Yeah, no, I think he's really going to flourish in Tampa. I really do.
But dude, explain to me, dude, I get Ekblad, great player, but dude, this is a guy you had penciled in your top 6, and then all of a sudden Ekblad gets better, and you're like, oh no, he's expendable. Like, there really wasn't like 7 other guys you could have looked at.
Well, not only that, but
like, holy fuck, dude.
And maybe maybe the timing. Maybe the timing of it all is kind of what messed it up, but just like
fucking yikes.
Balcers is not like, he's not like some washed up player. Like, he has some value to him. And so
that's why I don't get it.
At the very least, you just flip, I'd be surprised, or, I'd be surprised if they didn't try to flip him anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Florida, that is.
Yeah. No, that was really weird.
But whatever.
Yeah. Brody and Brownie were noticeably absent from the pre and post game show if you actually watched it. So good for you. From this week. So what the hell is up with Calgary? Dude, what is up with the Pacific Division? This is not where my bingo card was landing at this point, sir. Like, what, 20% into the season? Like, Vegas being number 1, sure. I like, because going into the season, we talked, me, you, Ian, a bunch of different Teal Town people. We were all kind of like, some of us were very high on Vegas. Some of us were very kind of like, maybe they might slide in. You look at it. So a couple people were right. Dude, was it you or Ian or maybe both of you? Dude, Seattle? 3rd? Really? Right now?
See, I thought Seattle was going to be hanging out with the Sharks and the Ducks at the bottom.
Dude,
You know, I thought
as did
thought
I.
maybe, like between their forwards and their goaltending, I thought maybe they could stick around. I thought maybe they could stick around longer than people gave them credit for.
And you were the poor bastard that took Vancouver last year. How do you feel about that now?
Well, dude, I took Vancouver again this year. I said
Holy
Vancouver.
fuck.
I said Vancouver was going to make the playoffs and knock Vegas out.
Dude, and my hashtag Kings, dude, they're second right now with a 3-point cushion. Like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I don't even get this. And then Calgary being fifth. Like, I don't even, like, if you look at the bottom three, San Jose, Vancouver, and Anaheim, those three, you could probably sit there and go, you know, maybe Vancouver above San Jose, but sounds about right. You know, maybe you would have considered Seattle. Like, it just felt like the Pacific were very much a top four, bottom four. And it felt like the top four was going to be like, you know, Vegas, Calgary, Edmonton, LA, jumble them up however you want. And then the bottom four was going to be, you know, Anaheim, Vancouver, San Jose, Seattle. Jumble them however. And even if Seattle finished at the top of that group, they're only finishing fifth. So to look at where they are right now, dude, the LA Kings on a 4-game win streak. You know, Vancouver on a 3-game losing streak. Like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, this is so crazy. And we saw Colorado. Remember, like, Colorado a month ago was like 7th in the Central, and they figured out now they're 2nd.
I think we're going to see the same. I think we're going to see the same thing happen with the Calgary Flames.
See, that's what I'm hoping for. You know, I love me some Daryl Sutter, but you know, like it like a month ago, Colorado was in the fucking basement. Now they are they're 2 points away from taking the top of the Central. And the other thing is the team that's number 1 in the Central, Dallas, they played 2 more games. So Colorado, yeah, I feel like they probably have a, stranglehold on this. Like, it feels like 20% into the season, we're starting to see, like the predictions that we all had start to kind of show themselves. Like, for a minute or two, Chicago was like 2nd in the Central, and now they're 5th.
Right.
And they're like 2 losses away from like going to 7th. And then Arizona's 6th. And I feel like St. Louis is going to turn it around a little bit. How could they not?
Right.
Like they won 3, lost 8, won 2. Like, that's really weird. Nashville, you would think, is going to do that. Now, here's the other one on the flip side. Dude, how the hell did New Jersey win 9 straight? It's huge.
Guys are getting hot at the right time.
Dude, November has never been the right time to be hot in the NHL.
Right, but Jesper Bratt, especially, like, everything he's touching is going in.
Dude, I don't even get that. Like, you look at the Metro, the Devils and the Islanders are your leaders.
Islanders makes a little bit more sense, but Devils for sure.
I don't know. Dude, that's just weird. Where Carolina, which was the sexy pick at the beginning of the season to like ride the Metro all the way to the to the end, and nobody saw Columbus being the shitstorm they are. That's just weird as hell. And then Boston, I don't know that a lot of people. I felt like a lot of people had Boston in the maybe the top 4, but being a 7 points ahead of a second place Toronto at this point, I don't think anybody saw that coming. Although I don't think anybody saw Toronto being this bad.
No, there's a lot of weird things going on right now, and I think
the Atlantic is so freaky.
I was going to say, I think as time goes on, I think maybe a lot of things will sort of reset,
Whew. I don't know. It's creepy, man. It's creepy. So with that, it's always fun to dive into the Pacific and the NHL as a whole, because sometimes shit gets creepy. But you want to talk about really creepy? Let's talk about that other AHL team.
Ooh, Barracuda.
Oh, the Cuda, what have you done? It's been so bad. Cuda played 4 games this week, starting with getting shut out, a shellacking, 4-0 in Calgary after being beaten 8-2 in Calgary. Oof. So, and by the way, that 4-0 shellacking that the Cuda took, Nicholas Malash. That's usually the point when Jerk goes, who? Yeah, Nick Malash got a goal and an assist. The Cuda followed that up with a return to Tech CU. It was a 4-3 shootout win over the Ontario Reign last Thursday. And the cool thing about this, okay, Jeff Viel, he gets a pair of goals, but Ozzy Weisblatt gets a goal in his debut with the Cuda. Strauss Mann makes his second start. It's a positive start. The thing that pisses me off, I was at that game on Thursday against Ontario. There might have been 400. You guys are missing out, man. You all need to show up for the Cuda. I'm telling you. It's such... Tech CU is such a fun venue. Y'all need to turn out. I'm just saying. So over this weekend, it was a pair against Colorado Eagles. The Cuda eked out a win in the first game in overtime with goals by Jasper Weatherby and Luke Johnson. The second tilt, not so good. The Cuda lost 3-1. That's a bummer. Who got the one goal for the Cuda today? Was that Tristan Robbins, I want to say?
Yes, I believe that is true.
Oh, man. So the Cuda will play San Diego Gulls at home before going on a 5-game roadie with a pair next weekend in Tucson. But anyway, look up those games that are going to be played at Tech CU. I'm telling you, a lot of fucking fun. But right now, Cuda have dropped a little bit. Last time I looked, 8th in the Pacific Division. It might be 7th now, but I don't know. But either way, hopefully, Cuda going to turn that shit around, and maybe I don't know, Strauss Mann is the difference. But I will say, Arundel, Makaniemi, you've been fun to watch. But I'm just saying. So I have played the Jackie Redmond clip. I have played all the other clips. You know what I have not played? Jerk?
What's that?
I have not played the who won a fully filled lunchbox clip. That is not what I have played. So you had 15 participants from what I understand, and you have the opportunity to not only take into account what Kakinen did on Thursday, what Reimer did on Friday, and then what Reimer did today. So you, my friend, have to work out. So what do you got there? Numbers?
So I've done a couple calculations, and I want to double check with you before we move forward on 2 things. So number 1,
started off with what it was. Started off with save percentage, and then if we had people that had the same save percentage, it was the goals against was going to be the delineating factor. Yes,
the tiebreaker. Correct.
Sure.
So I just want to make sure that I have all this correct. So it's the just for tiebreaker purposes, it's the goals against average of the goalies, not the teams, correct?
Correct. No, it's just whatever Reimer and Kakinen did over the course of those 3 games.
Gotcha. I only
including today's game.
Right. I only asked because there was the empty netter, which complicates things.
Yeah.
So
no.
Okay. So
no.
here we
so
go.
It comes down to, it's like who wants a lunchbox?
So the Sharks save percentage their goalies combined save percentage for this week.
Goals against average.
Save percentage is
save percentage is the first one.
Correct.
Okay.
So the save percentage was .890. And
nice. And you had 15 entrants.
15 entrants. Nobody hit .890.
Did anybody hit below .890?
No.
Oh, everybody said over that?
Right.
Oh, do we need to go another week with this shit?
No, because even though the rules were closest, even though the rules were closest without going over,
God, we had that just Man, that is an amazing amount of optimism.
Right. So even though the rules were closest without going over, nobody was close without going over, right? So we'll have to, change the rules on the fly here. So we had 3 individuals who all said
Who?
893.
And is
That
that
is
where they
the-
were?
And no, so the save percentage
They all had 83. Oh, so that's where they were? No.
so no, because the actual save percentage was 890. So
Oh.
893 was the
Oh,
closest
that
that
was
people got.
but still over. And we said before going over. I feel like we might need to roll this game one more week, dude.
You don't want to give it to
I mean, if we have somebody who threw in save percentage without going over,
mhm.
or what? Hold on, I can't remember. What did we start with? Save percentage or goals against? What was the
save percentage.
Okay,
save
so
percentage
did
was
we
the
have
main contest.
anybody who hit save percentage without going over?
No.
Well, see, then I think we need to go again because that was the delineating factor. Like, you can't even move on to the next criteria unless the first criteria was satisfied, and it wasn't.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, I think we need to go again. All right.
So
So
here's what I'll do. I will anybody who sent me an email or a DM on Twitter, if you're listening, send it again for this week.
all right. So here's what you have, everybody. So we're gonna roll this shit again because we want to play the game fairly. If you didn't, I mean, clearly by what Jerk is saying, it's
Nobody
close.
got it.
Yeah, closest without going over. Nobody got it. This lunchbox is still very full with a
Still in play.
Yeah, still in play, but inside is still a Hurdle Christmas bobblehead. There is still a one reef towel from the Barracuda. There's still a Sharks Territory sign. There's a whole bunch of shit in here. And the other thing is, just to let you know, this box is pretty full. I was still going to drop in a couple surprises before I sent it out. So, look, would one of those things might be a Teal Town USA drink coaster? Sure. It's all right. Okay. So, Monsieur Hockey Jerk. Between now and the next time I talk to you, the Sharks are going to play at Vegas. Then they are going to host the Detroit Red Wings. And then they are going to host the New York Rangers. Take into account, Vegas has been playing pretty fucking good lately. Detroit, not so bad. And then the Rangers, they only have like a, Vezina goalie, right? So take that shit into account, and we're going to do this shit again. So for this week, the Sharks play 3 games. If you would like to win the San Jose Sharks Retro Lunchbox with all of the things that we have put inside of it, here are the rules. You have to email hockeyjerk at
hockeyjerk10@gmail.com.
and you have to, over the course of 3 games, take into account 3 games are going to be played. It doesn't matter if it's Reimer or Kakinen, or hell, if they bring up Dell or whoever, it's those 3 games. The collective, it's a collective, or are we doing save or goals against is the first one?
Save percentage
Collective?
yes, collective save percentage of the goalies is the main contest. The goals against average is the
Tiebreaker. Yeah. So, collective save percentage closest without going over. All right?
Closest without going over. That's the key point to me.
That's the key point. And then if there are 2 people that say, save percentage, I'm going to say, 9 or 0.906, and somebody else says 0.906. Well, then your save percentage better. Either way, you get what I'm saying.
if you also, and I see AO in the chat, if you don't feel like emailing me, you can also just DM me on Twitter. That's fine.
Oh, at hockey_jerk. All right. Does that I feel like that is the fairest thing that we can do, because I didn't want to do a thing where it's like, oh, you might be able to look some shit up or anything. No. I don't want to do that. I want to see the people predict the future. So we are going to go with save percentage. Now I'm going to put this out there. Currently, 11 games played. James Reimer has a .908. The other thing I need to put out there, we don't know who's going to start the next 3 games. Kakkonen could start 2. Reimer could start. Reimer could start all 3. We don't know. But I'm trying to give you guys a hint. Right now, Reimer, with 11 games played, has a .908 save percentage. Kakkonen, with 6 games played, has a .878 save percentage. So that's what we're looking for initially. Who can get the closest to that save percentage over those 3 games? We are not taking into account the previous 17 games that have already been played. It's the 3 games coming up between now and next week's Pucknologist. Okay?
Yep.
I'm trying to make this as plain as possible. Do I sound like I make sense?
Yep. At Vegas versus Detroit versus the Rangers.
Okay, then. So take into account the teams that the Sharks are going to be playing, it's save percentage. And then after that, follow that up with the goals against, because you, Joe Q viewer, Jane Q viewer, they Q viewer, don't want to leave anybody out. There might be 3 persons that all guess .906. So after that, the tiebreaker, goals against average. And again, just to let you know, right now, in 11 games played, James Reimer has a 2.88 goals against average. Kakkonen, 3.70. So I think what I'm trying to say to you, if you would love this very fully packed Sharks Retro Lunchbox, figure that out. Get on to NHL.com. Look at those stats. They'll probably help you out a little bit. And there you go. I'm a little bummed that we weren't able to give this out this week, Jerk. Dude, that kind of... Everybody went over.
I know.
Dude, it's like the worst Price is Right ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dude, that sucks.
But you know what? It's okay.
It kind of sucks.
Hopefully we're gonna get people back. And
all right, well, we're gonna keep trying. Just play by the rules. That's all we're asking. Like Kerry Lake in Arizona, right? Just play by the rules.
And also, just so in case you did enter the contest, if you're listening, I've already emailed or DM'd you, depending on how you contacted me. I've already put onto paper, hey, the contest is continuing. Please send new numbers. And I've responded to everybody who entered. So even if you're not listening, you still know the contest has been extended.
Nice. See?
So if anybody who entered last week says, oh, I didn't know, not our problem.
There you go. Jerk knows how to email people.
It's really, all you have to do is just type it out, and then you copy it, and then you paste.
Oh,
and
easy
boom,
peasy.
you're done.
Easy peasy. This is something that we normally do, but we already did it already. But I just want to throw it out there just because it's fun. Tweet of the week. All right. Okay. It's only because it was fun. But that was from last week. So coming up this week, the Sharks have one more roadie to finish up their 4-game road trip. It's going to end in Vegas. Jerk, are you going to be there to give them a bump or not?
There's a 50% chance that I will be there.
Oh, okay. Following Vegas, the Sharks are going to come home for 3 straight. 5 of their next 6 is going to be at SAP after that. But between now and next Sunday, the Sharks will, in fact, face Detroit and David Quinn's former team, the Rangers. That is going to be on the 49er Bay Area Unite game. I can't wait to go to there because, Well, let's be honest, they stole my jersey idea. So remember to check out our post-game cast. It's going to follow every single Sharks game. We got Puck Guy, we got Landy, Dana, Mark, Ian. We have all sorts of people on there. We're not even sure. So with that, you can follow him at hockey_jerk on the Twitter machine. You can follow me at AJ_strong. Remember to leave your takes in the comments section of this YouTube video if you were not able to play the home game live. If you have any topics you want Jerk and me to dip into, our pinky toe, little toe, big toe, doesn't matter. Hit us up on Twitter at Pucknologists. Famous last words for you, my jerk man.
Famous last words.
Yeah, whip it out.
So we've already got two people who were not in the contest last week.
They've already submitted? Jesus Christ.
Submitted. So,
oh, rock on. Hell yeah.
Actually, let me see. Just one. Okay, yeah. So one person who was in last week has sent me new picks already.
Fuck yeah.
Three people who were not in last week have sent me picks. So
that's awesome.
Potentially up to 18 entries now.
Nice.
assuming everybody who entered last week comes back.
Oh yeah, but still, so hold on, and just to give, I've already forgotten what the hell I put in here. What did I put in here? All right, so we have it has a Doug Wilson banner. It has a Sharks fanny pack. There is a One Reef towel from the Barracuda. There is a Tomas Hertl holiday bobblehead. There's a Sharks placard. Oh man, there's some good stuff in here. So I'm just letting you know, it's all packed. And again, there's still space for me to jam in one or two more other small things. So if you would like, teal together, motherfuckers. You want the mini lunch retro box here? That's it. Okay. Can you please do me a favor? Tell everybody the email to submit their goals against and save percentage to.
Yeah, so you can either email me hockeyjerk10@gmail.com, or you can
slide into those
DM me on Twitter at hockey_jerk.
And we're going to announce this next Sunday during the Pucknologists, provided
hopefully we have a winner.
Yeah, I was going to say somebody satisfies the threshold rules.
Okay, so everybody, if you have DM'd me on Twitter or sent me an email in the last 5 minutes since we announced that the contest is extending, your pick is in, so you don't need to worry. I got it.
Nice. All right. So with that, any famous last words before we move on? Anything tickling your fancy between now and next week? Any suspensions or something you look at like I don't know, like, oh my God, Sidney Crosby's gonna face Ovechkin this week. Like anything, like, or were you happy that Evander Kane almost got his hand cut off? Like, just whatever.
I'll be a lot happier if the 49ers can come back against the Chargers.
Is that happening right now?
It's 16-13 Chargers. 49ers have the ball. And
how much time?
6.5 minutes in the third quarter.
Oh, and Jimmy G still playing quarterback. Okay, I'll have to look that up. And that's it? Nothing for next week?
No, not yet, but you know.
Hey, let me ask you this, good sir. Were you excited for doing a earlier show because it was a takeover, or you were just like, it's the same shit?
No, it's actually nice because we're done right now and I can go eat dinner at a normal time.
Hey now. See, I feel like you're going to be upset in a couple weeks when the Sharks game on a Sunday starts at 7.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, you're going to be a motherfucker. All right. My famous last words, I really don't have any. I want somebody to win this beautiful lunchbox that is fully filled. Fully filled?
You have it.
Fully filled. All right. So, hey, do me a favor. Remember to click like if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, hit subscribe. Totally appreciate that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. If you listen to the podcast on some sort of audio platform, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, whatever. Hey, tell a friend and help us out. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review if possible. We'd certainly appreciate that. And you can find links to all of our social media podcast apps and more in the show notes below. And as always, you can find everything on Teal Town USA. We thank you very much for joining us, listening to us, watching us, whatever your preferred platform is. Hey, the Sharks won. Might have been in a shootout, might have been in no way ever that anybody foresaw, but it happened. I think. I don't know. Have we looked it up? Are they going to challenge that? I'm not sure. So we will see you here next Sunday. Next Sunday there's no game. Oh, it's the best part. That's the best part. That means Jerk and I will join here next Sunday. So tell a friend, 7 o'clock Pacific. We're going to see you here next Sunday. Following Sharks and who is it? Who are they playing Saturday? It's a team. Oh, it's a team called the New York Rangers, but a day before the team they called Ottawa. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I buy it. So with that, thank you very much for joining us. We will catch you next Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.